Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Writing Visual Studio Extensions with Matt. That's me. And we have a fantastic show for you today. We're going to write a new extension. But before we get that far, as always, we have James with us in the background, the producer. He's got some construction going on in his house, and so he may or may not come in. Oh, there you are. Hello.
Muted, unmuted. All right. Hey, everyone. All right. Muted again. Bye-bye.
He's got construction right behind this wall, so there's some hammering and stuff going on. So we might not hear so much from him today because of all that noise. So what are we doing? Well, we're going to write an extension. We're going to write an extension that I had the idea for a couple of weeks ago. It was not my idea. It was Carl Franklin of, you probably heard of Carl Franklin. He's a very famous person in the .NET circles. He is a host and creator of .NET Rocks, the podcast, .NETRocks.com. And let's just see my screen here. I was on a couple of weeks ago, and I had there's a link here. I put it in the description in under the video on YouTube. But you can go check it out. But basically, what Carl was suggesting was, hey, it would be cool if there was a way that in Visual Studio I could play some nice music that I like to listen to while I'm coding. And it just so happened to be that Carl, he's actually a recording artist. He actually plays instruments and stuff. And so he recorded music to code by, it's called. And so I thought that was a fantastic idea. And the way we talked about it was that, well, you should be able to get a feed from some central location that maybe Carl controls. And so you would play his music and stuff like that. And we can totally do that. But I think because we only have like an hour or an hour and a half, we can't do everything. So either we break this up in two parts, or we kind of do a simple version, and then we see how we can add sort of that feed consumption aspect later on. So right now we're just going to play music that is local on our computer. And what I've done is that I went to bensound.com. They actually have royalty-free music, so that's pretty cool. This is not an advertising, by the way. I'm just saying. I downloaded some MP3s from here, and that's enough for us to get going. So I think that's the plan. What do you think, James? That sounds like an okay plan, right? We just play local music from our own hard drive, and then.
Oh yeah, I'm into it. Yeah, because then if you own Carl's music, then you could just load that up too, which is great. And then we'll use Bensound because then we won't get flagged for takedown.
Yes, exactly. Those are royalty free and safe to use on YouTube and Twitch and wherever. So let's head into Visual Studio. As always, we have our Extensibility Essentials extension installed, and that gives us, and we make sure to keep it up to date. So if you have it, make sure that it's up to date and you have all its children. It's an extension pack, so make sure you have the children extensions, specifically one that's called Extensibility Template Pack, because that gives us this thing right here, V6 project with command, and then the word community in parentheses. Because this one, instead of just being a V6 that doesn't do anything, this one has a command already, and then it uses the new community toolkit. And so let's just go ahead and start that, and we're going to put that in my GitHub folder here, and let's call it music to code by, and create. All right, so that gets us here. So we get a package class. Let's bump the font here a little bit so everyone can see what's going on. So we got a package class. Here we go. Oh. Something interesting. We got our command table where we have a single button, which is located in this group up here, which is located in tools. Okay, where I want to put it is actually up here on the standard toolbar instead. So let's do that. So that's something about it's called standard. Here, tool standard. So that's the standard toolbar. If I right click here, you can see its name is standard, right? The toolbar that I'm thinking of here. Okay, so now our button is going to be placed up here, and the icon is a status information icon. Let's see which one that is. Status information, that one. No, I don't want that one. I want something about something sound, right? And what do you think right here, right? Boom, sound. Copy. Boom, sound. So that's the icon I want. This is the known moniker explorer. I want to use this as the icon for my extension. Right now, the icon we're using is just the default one that you get with the template. But I want you to use the exact same one. So the one here called sound. So 90 pixels, we're going to export that. And that was what was in music to code by. Boom, boom. Resources. We're just going to replace the existing icon PNG with this one. So now we got that. All right. So far, so good. Then we have our command. And the command is using here, community.visualstudio.toolkit. That means it just inherits from our command base. And see here, this is all that is now needed for a command to just, whenever the command is executed, to show a message box. Isn't that nice? So we're going to just do a couple of things. So this is a question to the audience. If you followed along here before, or if you used Extensibility Essentials before, you might know that I can right-click my VSCT file and say synchronize to code file. And that gives me a C# representation of what's in my VSCT file, like in this file. That means that instead of now having a hard-coded GUID here, I can just grab that GUID from package GUID dot, what is the command set right here. And instead of the integer that's like the hex integer that's defined right here, I can go to package IDs and get my command right here, which you can see here in the screenshot or in the tooltip that it's the same value, right? So the question to the audience here is, this extension did not this template did not automatically come with one of these, doesn't automatically synchronize to a C# file because it doesn't want to take a dependency on another extension that's in that extension pack, these Extensibility Essentials, called V6 Synchronizer. But the question is, should it? So that is a question for the audience. Should the Extensibility template pack take a dependency on the V6 Synchronizer extension? Let me know in the comments. Nothing bad would happen if it didn't. Like this would still be here, but it just wouldn't be kept up to date automatically whenever there's changes to the VSCT file. And the same thing is true for the V6 manifest. I can right-click and say synchronize the file, and now I get all my get a C# representation of that too, right? So the question is, should that be on by default in the Extensibility template pack? Jan says yes. Steven says yes. Okay, the Australians are in alignment. What about the rest of the world? Let's hear from you, please. Okay. So here is what I think is going to work. We're going to put a button. Let me just close down everything here. We're going to put a button up here on the toolbar, kind of like this one. This one, click, click, click. It doesn't do anything unless we have an editor open. It adds this little margin down here at the bottom. Easier if I can toggle it. It's a toggle button, on, off. So that's what I want to do. I want to create a toggle button that plays the music and that pauses the music. And the first time you click it, I want to ask you for where your MP3 files are, the folder on disk. So we have to store that information somewhere. So let's get some options, some tools options, some settings. So I'm just going to go and add new item, extensibility, options page here. And let's just call them general. Okay, so these are general options. Okay, and we got actually, I'd like to put that in a folder called options. Kind of keeps it kind of neat, I guess you could say. So this one says, copy these two things and paste them over your package attribute. I'm trying to figure out how to do this automatically, by the way. Now we just do it like this. So copy these two in here. Okay. So now we're registering our options. And we're going to have a couple of options here. Now we're going to have like music folder, right? So that's basically a string. So string. Something bad's happening. No, can't hit a keyboard shortcut. So let's call that music folder. Let's say by default, it's an empty string, right? Default value, empty. So my category is here. Let's just call general. We're not that creative. And display name for this is music. Whoop. Music folder. So this is a folder on disk containing .mp3 files. That's pretty straightforward. So that's one setting. I think we need to add one more, which is volume. I think it would, like for me personally at least, I don't think I want a higher my normal volume for this type of music than I would for like when I go into a Teams meeting, you know, conference call or something like that. I think I want like a lower volume. So I'm gonna go ahead and create another setting here. It's called volume. And the thing about volume, we're gonna use a library today, the Windows Media Player library. And I don't know if you know this, but if you've ever played with it before, but as far as I remember, we have to be pretty low by default, between 0 and 100. So this is basically set the volume between 0 and 100, and we default it to 1. So that's going to be kind of rather low, but I think that's how to do it. Okay. Cool. So let's actually just run it. Let's just run it and see what happens. Okay, so we got 4 people saying yes. And I'm also assuming that Pachenka, that K dot, it means yes. So that would be 4. Okay, so I should probably go ahead and do that. So nothing bad will happen if you don't have that V6 synchronizer extension, but it might be weird if you've never done it before and you don't know why those files don't update. But yeah. Oh man, you know what I did? James, I do this every time. I feel like I reset the experimental instance, and then it takes like forever to start up. Oh, but look at this. We have a button. Let's click it. Oh, hallelujah. We got a message box. That's pretty cool. We didn't code much, right? And we haven't even looked if I have, what was the name of the, were they like music to code by? Here we go. Whoa. Here we go. Music to code by. Oh, isn't that pretty? Let's see if we get that general. You can't just have a single node here without children in the root. You have to like be under there, and that's fine. Okay, so I think we got what we need to start implementing. One thing that might be interesting is let's just change. So instead of my command, let's call it play pause. And what should we actually call our command? Maybe just music to code by. Play pause. Just like that. That makes sense. And because we put it on the toolbar, we can actually give it a tooltip. I think that makes sense. Play or pause music to code by. There we go. Just to like make it a little prettier. Okay. Oh, and by the way, if you got any questions, let me know in the comments. I'm following along here, waiting for you to break in and tell me I'm doing something weird or unoptimal. Is that a word? Unoptimal. Why not? Okay. So first of all, my command, let's call it toggle music. Name that. I can never figure out why sometimes it renames the file inside when I rename the class inside, and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know when it does, and yeah, whatever the pattern is, I'm not sure what it is. All right. So I think we need something to handle the music. So maybe we should create a music player class. Let's do that. Music player.cs. Okay. So music player. And this is where we need that. Well, hang on. Before we get started, we need a couple of things. Let's just do a start and a pause method, right? So public void start, and then public void pause. There we go. And then, okay, so let's think this through. So when I click the button to toggle it on, I want it, if the music is playing, I want the music to be paused. And if the music is not playing, I want the music to start, right? So I need to be able to check for whether or not music is playing or not. So let's create a property. So public bool is I could also do it inside the class, actually. Is it playing? Let's just make it true for now. A public property there. Okay, so I think we got our interface, right? So this is what we need to do. We need to interact with our music player with these from our command with using these three things. So now we need to add a reference. And I think there's a NuGet package for the Windows Media Player, but if not, see if I remember this right. So there's two. Check this out. There's two of these that's called Windows Media Player. I can't see what the difference is just right here. The programming language is C#. C#. This is the one we need, the Win build 16 or whatever. So when we add this, we can now code against the Windows Media Player library right here. So it's basically like we're hosting Windows Media Player inside our app, kind of, not really. But so we should probably get a new Windows Media Player. So let's create one. So private. What is that? Windows Media Player. Player. And then let's create a constructor and like just initialize. Wow. Player equals new media player. Actually, we can do this. Boom. Because these new templates have C#9 enabled in our projects by default. The community templates and the extensibility template pack. So I can just new it up like that. I think that's kind of nice. All right. What else do I want to do? That's it. Okay. So I assume pause is going to be the simplest. Let's see here. Player. There is no pause, is there? No. I think it's under controls. Pause. Boom. And then you could argue that, I would believe that we'll have to do like this. Right? So play this thing. Okay, but that's all fine and good. But we need to figure out what to play. And the way that this works, and I'm not gonna kid you here. I've prepared I prepared myself, and I'm just going to copy in some code. Because what we're going to do now is that we're going to create a playlist based on that folder that that the user hasn't selected yet. We're going to generate a playlist. Okay. So the first thing we do is that we ask the player, hey, get me. I'm just going to use the name of music player, like the name of the class here, as the, get the name. That's the name of my playlist I'm creating. Then get me all playlist that has that name. And the first time you run it, you don't have one. So that means, is there more than 0? Then, just take the one that exists and clear it out. But if it doesn't exist, then create a new playlist. Here we go. So then what it does, so now we have a new playlist, right? So now what we do is that we go through and we enumerate the files inside our music folder from our general options music folder, look for all MP3s. Hey, Carl Franklin is here. Hey, Carl, you got my tweet. Yeah, so Carl, I'm just implementing sort of the base version of what we talked about in your podcast, and then it's open season to kind of hook the feed up afterwards, such that we can, so you can be the one that's in charge of what is good music to code to and support the MP3s. And what's really cool, I'll show you that in a second, is that here right now we just enumerate a folder on disk to get our MP3 files. And then we load it into a media, like here. But check this, it actually takes a URL. It takes a base string URL, or a URL, which means it doesn't have to be a local file. It can be a file on the interwebs. So if you have all your MP3s, on some server location somewhere on Azure, I'm sure, then that will be supported by this mechanism. So instead of enumerating your local file directory, you're just going to change this for each statement to loop through like a RSS feed or however you want to do your feed. Okay. And let's go up and do here on play. We're going to copy a few things in. We're going to go in here and say, okay, if I'm not paused, right? If the play state is different from paused, then generate this playlist and then also set the volume to whatever that you've done. But we want to make sure that if you change the volume, if you go to tools option and change the volume while you're playing, for instance, or something like that, we don't want you to restart Visual Studio for that to work. So we are going to go in and go general dot saved, and we're going to hook up a save handler here on options saved. And then we're going to basically, what are we going to do? We're going to set the volume. So we can say player settings volume equals E is the general E dot volume. Isn't that cool? So that's really nice that we have this option. So while I'm playing, I change the volume, boom, you can hear the difference immediately without starting and stopping or anything. Good. So let's just move this one down. I kind of like to get that out of the way. Let's put it at the bottom. Okay, so our command, this is now going to be the tricky part, right? Because we're now going to go in and probably create a new music player instance. So let's just create a private music player. And we're just going to new it up like that. And then let's go in here. So now we can add, now we need to figure out, like, is it playing or not, right? Because we need to toggle to start and stop. So we're going to say if player is playing, then we want to do something. Do we want to do? Well, here's a cool thing. Notice how this up here, this icon, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Let me show you the debug. Check this out. So this is an extension I have called Tweaks. This is a way to enable and disable or toggle just my code. See, and it's enabled right now. And if I click it, it's disabled. You can see how it changes state. Now it's enabled again. That's what I want. I wanted to have like this pressed state when the music is playing, and then like this when music is not playing. So how do we do that? Very simply, we just grab our command and we just say it's checked equals false. And then here at the bottom, we can go and say, and check equals true. So let's do that. So first of all, we're going to uncheck it. If the music is playing, we want to stop it. So player.pause like that, and then stop. Don't do anything else. Just stop what you're doing. Don't continue on. There we go. So whatever, we're going to fix that. So now, okay, so if I'm here where the cursor is right now, that means that the music is not starting and we want to start playing the music. But the first time, we don't know what folder. The user hasn't specified what folder they want. So let's do that. Let's simply go in here. And I did this again. I cheated. And I wrote this in advance. So what's going on here? Oh, it's the whole task thing. That's good. Oh, what's this? Options provider. We don't need that. Okay, is music folder defined? So we're going to ask if music folder is defined. How do we do that? Well, first we get a hold of our options. So we're in an async method. That means that we can interact with our tools options that we have, like this file right here. We can now interact with that asynchronously, which is the preferred way of doing it. I could do like instance.music folder. I did that before because we weren't in an async await context, but we are now. So now we can say, hey, if the music folder is not empty, then return true. Now, is music folder defined? Yes, it is. It's the string value is not empty, so we're good to go. But if not, then we have to use Windows Forms. Okay, let's use Windows Forms. So we're going to add Windows Forms to our dialog here. Dialog result. Yep, let's go. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. I want to using. What is this? Why can't I do it? Is that because I have some weird? There's some weird things going on here with my using statements. There we go. Now it's working. Okay, so we're gonna pop a folder browser dialog, and if the user clicks OK to that, that means that they selected something and click OK. Then I'm gonna set the options.music folder option to the dialog selected path. Then I'm gonna call options.saveasync, and then return true. Okay, so if I'm here and if we say if, so we can negate this. So if not is music, then we say, okay, just stop. Don't go further, right? If the user click cancel on the folder browser dialog, then that means they don't want to play music. You just stop, return, abort mission. And so we can go in here and we can say, okay, player.play. Start, I guess. We can call it. Does this make sense? Okay. Yeah, that's not cheating. That's right. But it's not necessarily, Carl, and for everyone out there, I talked to James about this in the past. I feel like it's cheating a little bit because I think like part of this show is also like that we kind of together explore the APIs of Visual Studio and so on. And so kind of having things too prepared, I think takes a little bit away. But I don't know. Let me know what you think. Okay, so let's run this. Got to enable something. Let's do that afterwards. Let's just hide this. So I have a music folder here. Oh, why can't I get? Why doesn't it tell me what the path is? Well, that's weird. Oh, here we go. So now, if I click the button, are you ready? Here we go. To give me a folder browser. It doesn't. Why doesn't it do that? What's going on? It does call initialize on this one. Oh, we don't want to go to the base class here. And this is the right command set, right? It can't be different or any other way. Maybe I just need to do a good old clean solution and then hit F5. Oh, is playing is always set to true. Superius, exactly. Dope. That's exactly right. How silly. Music, look at this. Always set to true. And that's wrong. We can just ask the player what its state is. So we can just say player.play state, is it equals to playing? So if it's equal to playing, then is playing is true. Okay. Let's start this up without attaching a debugger because we don't have to. It's gonna work. Thank you, Superius. Okay, there we go. Boom, folder browser. So where's music? I have one on my, I actually have another one here. I could just take this one, but I'm curious, where is my music folder? There. Is it playing? I don't hear anything. So let's check my music. Okay. Let's delete that. And then we go again, click this one. And there's nothing to play, but see here how it actually, that part works. It doesn't fully work. That looks right. Oh, where are we? Toggle music, here we are. So it checks it. Kind of weird. Let's set a breakpoint. And let's attach. Let's see what's going on. If player is playing, so now player is playing false. Why is that? Player start. F11. Oh, did it just die right there? I think it just did. Okay, I'm gonna hit F10, step over. And it dies. Okay. So let's step into it then. See what's going on. F11. Oh, boom. So, okay, so there's more than 0, but I can't get 0. You know, this API looks old. I wonder if it's because it's a 1-based array. This is going to warm Carl Franklin's Visual Basic heart, if it's true. Let's just try it again. Carl, are you still doing VB.NET, or are you doing a little bit of everything these days? You might not be on the call anymore. Okay, let's see here. You click again. Did I set my breakpoint in here? What? Okay, so if count, hang on. So count is, this is how it is. So count is not 0 indexed. That, of course, that works. I think that's how it works normally as well. It's like it's length that's always 0 based, not count, right? So Chris is asking, have you any tips on how to use the newer folder browser similar to Open Project Solution Dialog? There's a new one that you can get from the Windows API, the sort of Windows 10 APIs. I have never used it. I saw documentation on it actually. The Open Project Solution from within Visual Studio is a separate service that you can get. It's called Open Project or Solution Dialog. IVS Open Project or Solution Dialog. So if you grab that service, you have it. All right, so now we go again. F5. F5. No, F11. Let's check. No, we have a breakpoint. You can't hear it. So I'm going to have to turn up the volume. Maybe 1 was a little too little. So let's do, so you can hear it 50. You hear it, right? And then we stop it. Boom, stop. So let's try without the breakpoints. Try again. Awesome. So there was a couple of things that we need to clean up here. There is the music to code by. Look how it's like has no spaces in it, right? It looks weird. So let's go ahead and clean that up. That is in our package here, music to code by. So that's actually the name of our extension. So we're just going to say v6.name. And that comes from this file that's generated. We talked about this earlier, right? Name here. Oh dear. Music to code by. Now that looks right. Okay. So far so good. That was one aspect. What was the other thing I wanted to do? Why can't I remember it? Why can I not remember it? Okay, let's just run it. Oh yeah, the default for the music player, like the default option for 1 might be a little too low. Let's set it to 10, shall we? Oh, there we go. Oh. I can't believe that was an entire extension that we just created in 42 minutes. That's crazy. Should we get this on the GitHubs? What do you think? James, if we put this on, James is hashtag mind blown. That's wonderful, James. Let's see. Was there any questions for this? Now one more time in F sharp. Yeah, right. That's right. So we can see here it works between sessions as well, right? So that's pretty cool.
Hey, Mads, how do we add buttons in there that you can turn up and down the volume? You know what I mean? That'd be kind of cool. Can you do that? Because I think that'd be way beneficial besides between going through the other one.
Yes.
And then a mute button. So you need 4 buttons, mute, up, down. How fast can you implement it? Challenge.
So let's do a key binding. So Control-Shift-M starts and stops the music. So let's start with that. Okay, so volume up and down. The problem is finding the, what is the problem with that? There's no problem. There's only challenges, I guess. But okay, so let's just see that key binding. You see that? So if I mouse over, Visual Studio is so nice that it automatically puts in Control-Shift-M key binding. So let's test it out. Control-Shift-M. And Control-Shift-M again. Toggles it off. Boom. Can you believe Control-Shift-M was available? I couldn't. Okay. So additional commands. Yes, sir. Volume up, volume down. So the question becomes, do we want additional commands that are visible, or should they just be keyboard shortcuts? Like for the volume control. Because one thing we could do we have any examples of that?
We got a lot of suggestions in here. We got a skip to next track, volume sliders. Oh my goodness. 30-second skip. I just came up with that one. I want an entire array of commands. No, don't give me all of them. That'd be too many.
All right.
Can we do a slider? We can't do a slider. There's not a UI element for that, right?
We can't do it. No, there's not. But we can do something else. We can do toolbar group. And then we can have a drop down group. Oh my, what is that? Are we going to learn something new today? I don't know. Play pause. Okay, so now none of this is going to work because these are all. So this is now play pause. My menu group is now toolbar group. Toolbar group. We're going to add another group. And then we're going to add a menu. Oh my Lord. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. So we're going to have a GUID music to code by. ID was, what was it? We need to create a menu. So let's create a menu here. We're going to call that. I need to come up with like a, I don't know, like some sort of scheme for this. So we're going to call this music menu. So these start with 1, 2, 3. So maybe menus come after commands and they start in the thousands. Maybe that's how it is. Okay, music menu. Okay, let's do music menu. Already type menu. Yeah, it's all good. String. I think this doesn't matter. We can't see this one, I think. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to basically take our menu and we're going to parent it under our toolbar menu here, which is toolbar group. I'm going to put a menu in the toolbar group. Then, this is not toolbar group. This is drop down group. Actually, it's menu group. That's what we should call it. Drop down group should be menu group. Music menu group. Music menu group. So the music menu is now inside the toolbar group. Yeah. And the music menu group should now be inside our music menu, like that. Okay, so we have an outer group, the toolbar group, that contains the music menu, that then contains a group, and that's that inner group that we need to add our button to. Okay, wow, there's a lot of editing here. So let's just create a new one. So we're going to add one called volume up, right? Volume up. Of course, this doesn't exist. Volume up. And now in here, we can't use tooltips. So let's do a volume down too. Down. Okay. Then we just create them. Volume down. 101 and 102. Okay. Phew. All right. What kind of up? Volume up? No, let's figure out the icons afterwards. Is there something called up? Is that like a thing? Update. Volume? Up? Like louder or something? That's really what we want. Louder and quieter. So arrow, move up, move down. Let's use those. Move up. I just assume there's a move down. There we go. Okay. So now these are parented right. So there's a trick. Let's see if I can remember how to do this properly. Let's just run and see if we run into this problem I think we might do. Icons could be plus and a minus. Yeah, that's right. My command. It's not called my command. It's called play pause. And so Jan had a good one. We can use plus and minus instead of the up and down. That might make sense. Package ID does not. Oh yeah, in here it's called play pause. Okay. So there are various different controls we can use up here. Like you can see a combo box is one, buttons. But what we want to do is we want to do a split button. And I might have to search on the internet on some of my previous stuff to see how to do that. Music menu. You see here? Boom, boom, boom. But just clicking this opens it up. That's not what I want. I want the icon for the play pause to be there instead of where it says music menu. And so for that, let's see if I can remember how this is done. There is a command flag. No show on menu controller. Maybe that's what it is. Okay. I have prior art, so I can go check that out. I'm going to search for solution extensions, I think it's called. Source VSCT. Here, not in TB list, and it's a menu controller. Okay. But I didn't, not in, that didn't show up, did it? Why did that not show up? So I have, do I provide? What's up with this? So why did that work? It's on the menu, command flag, because it's a menu controller. Is that right? Aha. Menu controller. That's my bad. Not that I really know what the difference is, to be honest with you. I'm gonna run this again. No. This is because this isn't a button. Not in TB. TB, toolbox. Okay. Toolbar, rather. You know, this was probably here all the time, actually. On the menus, I just put it in the button instead. So let's see. See that? Volume up. But see what happens now? You can see how, you know, the most recently used one gets on top. And that's not really what I want. And I believe I figured out a way. So this is what group is inside. What is this called? My menu. Missing group. Is that really what it is? Missing group. Fixed menu controller. So one of these is fixed, I assume is what that means. I always want the same one to be there. I always want it's my play pause that goes right there, right? Okay, so let's create another command handler. So this one is called volume up. We're just going to do this one first, and then we can easily do the other one. Volume up. There we go. And volume up, and we need to initialize it in our package class. There we go. Okay, so we need a player, and the player, we already have that in our toggle music, which we should probably rename to play pause. Right, we create a player, but now we all need to share that player. So I'm going to move this out. I'm going to move this out to my package class here. So let's move this here. Okay, so music player. And so we're going to inject this into our two commands. Let's start with up here. We don't want this. No, we do maybe want this. But we're going to create a new method. Public. Can I just do that from here, right? I can just say control dot, generate method. Yes. There it is. There it is. Boom. And we just want to call the base class. Oh, base. Don't uppercase. Initialize. Oh, it's static. That's why. Yeah, it has to be. Oh dear, how do I do this? How do I need to come up with a parameter here because I can't override my override dot. Only initialize completed. Okay, so I need to make sure that we can override the initialize async. Okay, that bumps me out a little bit. So, okay, so we just do it this way instead. Public static, here we go. Man, is that the best way to do it? I don't know. There. Or I could do a singleton. I can do it. There's a million ways I can do this, right? So let's just do it this way. So this is our volume up command. So we're going to basically just say if player settings. Okay, I need to add volume up and volume down. Okay. So in my music player, stop, pause, do these two. I think that's okay. So the cool thing about doing this is that I get that I don't have to expose the inner workings of my API, right? And so if I were to change the library instead of using the Windows Media Player, if I want to use whatever else is out there, NuGet package or whatever, I'm free to do that without breaking anything. So we're going to say if player settings volume is less than 100, like less than or equals to 100, then we're going to set player settings volume equals math. We want to set the lowest. What is that? Floor? No. Oh, why can't I remember that? James, what is it if I want to say, give me the lowest of two values, math.low ceiling?
Mid, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, thank you.
Jeez. You want to get the minimum of the two.
Yes.
Yeah.
So so var desired equals, let's say we do in increments of 5, right? Here. So if we do it this way, then we're saying we can never get above 100. We say, because if the current volume is like 99 plus 5, that's 104. We say set it to what's the least, either 100 or 104, and 100 is the least, right? So that's kind of cool. So we can do the same, but in reverse, down in volume down. So if setting in volume is less than, if it's higher than, if I can type, if it's higher than -1, then take the volume, and then we say which one is highest. Oh, so now we can never get up below 0. Did I get that right? Yeah, why not, right? So I'm just gonna go package. What's the name of it? Music package dot player dot volume up. Just keep it super simple here, right? And execute async. Okay, let's not execute async. There's nothing async for us to do here. So let's just override we just do execute. There. Okay, so that's volume up. Volume down. Whoa. That does not say down. We can't rename because we don't want to rename the other one. So I'll do it manually. I mean, rename refactor. Down. And down. All right. There we go. I think, will this just work? Will it even compile? I don't know. Yeah, it compiled. Well, that's the first unit test right there. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've never done a single unit test in any of these episodes, James. And I'm okay with that.
What are unit tests?
Exactly. I'm glad you asked. Maybe someone from the that's viewing will enlighten us. I'm not sure what it is. Oh yeah. See, Sebastian comes in and just like tells me that my code is too verbose, and he's absolutely right. Let's try it. So that wasn't so good. So the problem is that we're not registering correctly in our package here. First of all, we need to do this. So typically we get the issue when there's more than one command that takes the same command ID. I'm just making sure I haven't play pause. Yeah, those are all different, so that's good. Okay. So let's do what Sebastian says. You're so smart, Sebastian. If you don't know who Sebastian is, he's the Orchard developer. He's the guy who wrote, invented, and maintains Orchard, the ASP.NET project. Very cool stuff. Okay. So let's run this. Yeah, IntelliCode should. Now, I wouldn't say could have. It should have. Maybe it did. But, to be fair, this is kind of a long line. And it's like, I don't know, there's a complexity to this, right? It doesn't read maybe as easily. So I think there's a case to be made of saying, okay, maybe not. Well, will this code be available? Oh, yeah. Yep, absolutely. Okay. Nothing is happening. It's not executing my, so something is wrong. It did load the package, but it did initiate my constructor here. So initialize ran correctly, but it didn't execute. So there's something wrong in the BSCT file. So where's my play button? Is it something about these not aligning? Let's hear. Play pause, number 100. This seems right. These are not duplicate, are they? 101. These are not duplicates. Fix in menu controller, that should be fine. Music menu group. I mean, that works. Let's do the good old clean. And then F5. Yeah, the Orchard GUI. Does the command-based class have a package property? If so, could you use it to reference the player property without it being static? Yes, it does. So I just have to cast the async package to the type that is the particular one in my project. Absolutely, it does have one. So Jan, good call. That is one way to do it. So it doesn't actually initialize the package here. Isn't that weird? Because it tries to initialize it again. So if I go to this, it's going to have a problem now again. Yep. It can't initialize it. So player is a thing, is playing false. 256. Oh, hang on. Here it is. Volume up, initialize F12. Oh, volume up. It went to play pause as well. Why did volume up go to play pause? Okay, this is super. I'm like so confused by this. That literally only figures one time. Play pause, play pause. Keep binding. Okay, so something very strange. Volume up. What if I turn them around? Oh, Christ, I know why. Silly, silly, silly. Look at this. It has to be, the base command has to be generic on its own type. Okay, now it works. Sorry about that, everybody. That was the copy pasta issue here. I was going a little too fast. A little too fast. Okay, so now it's playing all right. Okay. And if I do volume up, volume down. It's being lower. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is going down. That's awesome. So if we go and look at the music to go by, of course, we can also just search here, music to go by. Oh, nightly build. For some reason, the tools options are often, or the search always has issues in the nightly build. I forgot to save it. So now it's 0. So I should stop it at 1. But I need to save it to settings. So volume up. So oh my God, here we go. Don't go, yeah, 1 is the least, okay. And then we're gonna have to save it. So we're gonna do general.instance.volume.
Minimum there on the volume up. Copy paste.
Oh,
yeah, I think that was pointed out here by Muley. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I don't know what to do without all you for helping me out here. And that's general instance, save, bam. Nice, huh? So now we actually, instead of just, so it's not just in that session, it's, you know, when you come back, you restart Visual Studio, it remembers that. So I don't know if you saw something that was kind of interesting. There was something we lost when we did this. And that was the indication that we have a suppressed or like a pressed button. I'm not going to press it, and notice how it doesn't change. You can't see it. But now you can in here. I'm going to turn down the volume. Okay, here we go. Oh, now it's 1. Now it's the lowest. I can barely hear it. Yeah, and I can't go further down. Good. So anyway, let me zoom in. So you can't, it's no longer suppressed, right? But you can see there is an indication now here that it is. See how it has like almost like a yellow thing around it? So I guess that's what we lose when we do this. Is that what it meant? So is that worth it? I don't know. Yeah, sure. I think it is. Let's keep it. Let's keep it. Stop it there. So there's a lot more stuff we can do here. Like we could, you know, play things at random. We can do repeat. We can do skip next song, so on and so forth, right? So there's a lot more that we can do. I'm going to go ahead And let's see what we've got. Oh, what was that I did? Where's the recent thing we did? What is the recent thing we did? Oh, looks a batch, and I even have Orchard Core right there. Orchard Core is great to test Visual Studio. It has like, is it 162 projects or something like that? It's like a nice large project. Sticky Christmas. Let's do that one. Let's grab some stuff and let's get this out there. So if you want to get your hands on the code, you can. So I'm going to put it here. I'm going to close down Visual Studio. A new editor config. Do you want to add it? Yes, add it. I want to add more stuff. Add existing items. I want a README and I want an app.var file. Take it in there. Boom. Then in resources, I want to add existing item. And I want to get the license in there. You always have to have a license, folks. It's actually super important because some people, they're not allowed to use your stuff if you don't have a license. So we're going to mark this as content and say including v6 true. And then we can, here in our license, we can say, okay, resources license. There we go. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to close Visual Studio because I have to call my folder source. There's no way around it. And it bothers me that it doesn't do that by default. We actually did that in with .NET Core before it was even called .NET Core. But there was some issues with the way Visual Studio handles things. There's some assumptions that were no longer true. And so I think we would break like a bunch of templates. Or I forget exactly what the details were, but we actually had it, but had to revert the decision for some reason. I'm not sure why. Okay. So now we should be good. So now I can just add this to my Git repository. Music to code by. It's not a private one. Create and push. I think actually, the README file here is going to be all wrong. So let's go here. Sticky Christmas. So music to code by is what we call it. And let's just see if our repository, is it up? Music to code by, boom, there it is, folks. So go check it out, go grab it, and I will make sure that we set up some CI goodness for this. One thing I have to do is that when I'm dealing with royalty-free music, I have to make sure that I credit. I will credit it in here because, or James, maybe it should be on the YouTube video itself.
Yeah, I can add it to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it right there. So music to code by. Not that it exists on the marketplace yet, or maybe it should it? I don't know. Yeah, why not? Okay, so okay, I'm gonna set up my app.var here. Music to code by. I'm gonna add that. So this is my CI flow. You've seen this before, some of you. So I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna get a batch. I'm gonna hit F7 in the browser. That allows me to very easily select code or select text. And then, so that was the batch. That goes in here. So now, stick app.var. What's it doing? Now this one should be fine, and I should be able to just say added build badge. README. Let's get the last thing here, which is just the ID. And that's going to be the ID that's going into the V6 gallery. Do like this: edit, build batch, commit and push, and we should be able to see this kick in here right now. See, added build batch. It's now waiting. All right, so it's building. Hopefully it's going to work. Warning, processing COM is something. What does that mean? Cannot be marshaled by another marshaller, something, something. So that may be why people use the NuGet package, but it built it. It built it? Is that a word? So now I should be able to go to the v6gallery.com and find it right here. And it's complaining that my description is not so good. This is not the right description. So anyway, it looks like we're up and running. So you can find this on the V6 gallery. Let's just find that build warning there or that gallery warning. So what is this? This is plays your favorite music to code by to get you in the zone, right? To get you in the zone. Oh, and then we also need the more info URL. We always add that there. That's just a nice thing to do. So updated description. There we go. Okay, do we have any questions? The description is still sticky Christmas. Yeah, that's right. So I guess we just remove that. There we go. Should we also upload it to the marketplace? We could. So, but I don't really have any content for the README file. That's a little sad. Something like this. And then Carl can come in and say, hey, I have even better music that you should try. And we'd be like, absolutely. So updated README. And I don't want to kick off a build because it's just a README. So I can just write skip CI in square brackets. Okay, so let's upload this extension. So V6 Gallery. Okay, so it's not done building yet. Build failing. V6 manifest. Now what's going on here? What's going on? Is this not? Oh yeah, something is wrong here. The XML view code. The V6 manifest have failed. It's something. You see, there's something about it. What? Okay, so first of all, that's crazy that happened, but it's also crazy that it could still open up. Now this comes out fine.
Oh, see the line, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back. Okay, so go down one line, line 7. See how it got moved down by more info?
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is also like where it plays your. Weird.
Oh, is the description supposed to be group those things underneath it? Like those items underneath it, they were indented?
No, I don't know.
Okay, so description is its own block. Description doesn't have children. Oh, okay.
No, yeah, right. Why does it say this is new? How is this new? It was there before too. Okay, whatever. Added fixed manifest file. So now I will see it. So then I can start uploading my extension. So let's create a new Visual Studio extension. Oh, I need the actual file first. I thought I could just copy in my README file, but not quite yet. And it's very simple. It's just this short. I hope that there used to be like you had to like do 250 characters or words, 180 words, I think it was. And it was kind of problematic. I just want to make sure that the V6 doesn't contain 91 kilobytes. That's right. Okay, so now I can go over here, hit F5. We can download that, and then can upload music to code by, continue, please. And we're going to call it music to code by. We're just going to paste in some stuff there. It's all good. What is the category of this music? So that's probably other, I'd say. And tag here is music. Huh, there's not an extension with the tag music. Or was there? Maybe. Music, audio, sound. Yeah. It's free. And we want to paste this in, otherwise it can't link and show you when it was last updated and how many open issues there are and so on. So in 5 minutes, this is going to be ready. It's now verifying, so it's not quite there. And then I have to go in afterwards and say, here's one that exists already. Say, this one says make private. They're private by default. So the one I have to do is called make public, because that's by default when you upload a brand new extension, they're private. And so you have to click and say make public. This is that extensibility template pack, by the way. Okay, what do we have, James? Do we have any questions? Let's see here. Is it easy to do this media player to stream from, example, YouTube or some podcast URL? That's a great idea. So I don't know if you can use the media player, but I'm sure there's a NuGet package out there that lets you consume YouTube or Spotify or whatever you'd like. I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't think Windows Media Player by default knows how to do that. It just needs a URL, and then it needs certain formats, right? So it understands like MP3 and various streaming formats. So the podcast URL, yeah. So the thing about podcast is that they use RSS and Atom feeds, and they contain a link. Each item in that feed contains a link to the MP3 file or whatever the media file is. And so you could totally do that. So it's even built into .NET. You have the syndication feed classes in .NET Framework. And so, actually consuming that is really simple. So instead of going over and selecting a folder on disk for MP3 files on your local machine, paste in a podcast RSS feed instead, and then go from there. So you can totally do that. That wouldn't be that big a deal. That would be the best one. And that's the one that Carl wanted to.
I can give you the logic too. I already wrote all that logic for all the MP3s. So it's like really simple. Like if you just already have it all. Because I made an app a long time ago for Hanselman. Mm-hmm. It hit the Hanselman Forms application, but I have a RSS parser in there that pulls down all of his podcasts with all the descriptions. Just give me a feed and it'll do it automatically. Which is kind of cool.
That's fantastic. I just committed the cardinal sin of marketplace extensions. There's no screenshot, so the user doesn't know what they're going to get, and so that is the cardinal sin. Don't ever do that. Okay, if you have an extension, make sure to have screenshots so it's clear what the user can expect to see. So we're just going to do something simple, paste that straight in there, and the Markdown editor will automatically ask, where do you want to save the file? I'm going to create one called art. That's how I do it. I'll screenshot. There we go. And I'm just going to make sure that our All of our icons are optimized as much as they can. Image optimized, here we go. So added screen shot, skip CI. So here's stuff that I do. I don't know if this is smart or silly or what, but here's the screenshot. So let's click into that, and then we go download. Here we go. That's the full URL. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to go back. So I use Chrome for updating my extension because I use different credentials, like different accounts. So that's the reason for why I use different browsers for this stuff. Okay, so let's do this. And then we just need to update the URL for the picture. There we go. Save. And then we can just verify that that looks right. Boom. There we go. Cool. I think that was it from this time. Did we go through all the questions? I don't know. Maybe we did. What do you think, James?
I think quite a lot of them. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm
impressed. You got a lot done. I'm
this
totally going to use this. It's good.
Yeah, this was a good. I would like to attribute everything to Carl Franklin, because with all extensions, it's about the idea. You know? Of course, it's about the execution too, but the execution is nothing without the idea, and of course, the idea is nothing without the execution. You can go both ways, of course. Yeah, that was really, really good. Why do people say the GitHubs and the YouTubes? Why do you say, James?
I say the face. I don't know, because I think you're talking about them in like a general light, you know, because it could be GitHub or it could be some other repository or some other video service or something like that. Usually that's how I announce it, like, oh, the Facebooks. And when I mean the Facebooks, it's like usually about Facebook, but also, you know, any other social media thing, or the Googles, right? Or the Google, or, you know, something like that. That's usually what I say. So
yeah.
Also,
that's a good one.
Also, I think I picked it up from my parents. So.
Oh. I'm reading through the comments here. Yeah. Someone here wants to thank me for using the light theme. Yeah, Eric. I always do that when presenting. So that's a pro tip if you're ever presenting. Make sure to always use the light theme. It's easier to see for other people. So if you want to reach the maximum number of people in the audience that's not going to like have a hard time seeing what you're doing, go with the light theme, even though you prefer the dark theme and it's so much prettier and all that sort of stuff. When you're presenting, always use the light, not the light theme, the blue. It's actually called the blue theme. The light theme is absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. Can I show you the light theme? Oh my God, it's the worst.
Oh, I was using VSM on my new Mac. I got my new Mac, and the light theme is the default, which is light, which makes sense because that's how it's set up. But I'm like, oh, I need a blue theme. You know what I mean?
So now I'm going to enable the light theme. Whoa. It's
a lot. It's a lot. But I think if you need, there is a high contrast mode, I guess, in Windows, but maybe that mode's, well, there is a high contrast mode. There it is.
This just looks like the blue theme, but there is one if you are in.
I think you need to turn on maybe high I don't know how it works.
Yeah, there is a way for you to do that. There is an accessibility thing in Visual Studio, and it actually follows the Windows setting if you want high contrast, but you have a way to opt out. So maybe you want Windows, so that's new in 16.9. It used to be that if you wanted to have, if Windows was in high contrast mode, Visual Studio would automatically also go into its own high contrast mode. And sometimes people didn't want that. So now you can kind of opt out. Here's here. Use Windows high contrast requires restarts right here.
Do you know about making your cursor bigger? This is also a good one.
In Visual Studio, that's a Windows thing.
It's a Windows thing. I'll send you a link so you can tap on it. I actually make mine bigger, and I have it colored too, so it's more distinct. Yep, that one. Yep.
Let Okay, so we can go up and down, change the appearance.
Well, that's text cursor, but there's also one for mouse pointer on your left-hand side.
Oh. Okay, so now it's green, now it's blue, purple.
Then I make it bigger. I think you have to save it.
I know Dante makes it, like he has one of these huge ones, like normally. Was it at the smallest? Is this back to normal? Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I'm not sure. Cool. So we got some new. No. Can you play a music? We just played some music. Cool. I think that's it. That's all we've got time for. It's an hour and a half since we started. So like on the dot, like after the countdown of 3 minutes, it's now exactly an hour and a half later. So James, can you put that thing on where people can suggest new topics? I want to just mention one thing about new topics. If you have an extension that you'd like to have code reviewed, then we can spend some time doing that. Or if you have an extension that you want to have converted to the community toolkit or something like that, and it's open source, just suggest it. Send me a thing on Twitter or use that link that James put on the screen right now to suggest it. I'll be happy to go through, and it's not an embarrassing thing. Like a code review is a good thing, right? I love getting code reviews, even though it can sometimes feel bad because someone else is correcting me or whatever. But we've done one before, and I'd be happy to do more. It's interesting for me because I learned from it too. So that'll be cool. But if you have any other ideas for shows you want to see, or interested in how to use certain APIs or something like that, please go to that link and suggest how to, that type of show, and we'll take a look at it. And with that, it's the end. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you next week.